Greetings and salutations, YouTubers. This is Illafan85 back today with my latest video, my latest figure review. Today we're going to go ahead and take a look at my Y-MSF Minya figure. So this one is from the original Y-MSF release, not the not the re-release that they've been doing with a lot of their figures as of late. So obviously I got this one. All my Y-MSF figures I got the original releases of. Definitely was happy to add it to the collection. I personally, I know a lot of people have mixed feelings regarding Minya, or don't like him as a kaiju at all. I actually always liked Minya, so I always enjoyed Son of Godzilla, believe it or not, Godzilla's Revenge, etc., etc. I've always had a strong fondness for those films. I know a lot of cases people have bashed on them, but like I said, I've always been fond of them. And actually, in fact, for Godzilla's Revenge in particular, that was one of my earliest Godzilla films that I ever saw. So I've always had nostalgic fondness for it, and always felt like I could kind of relate to Ichiro, just with his personality being kind of the loner and this and that. So. But nonetheless, though, like I said, so I was definitely glad to be able to get a good Minya figure to add to the collection here. And I think Y-MSF, as usual, really did a top-notch job. So let's go ahead and jump into it, shall we? So first with the paint and the details. So as you can see, paint-wise, Minya, sort of almost this, almost like a pale green, but kind of like a grayish, like a pale green or like a grayish color for the main part of his body there. And you got some sort of these tannish, creamish highlights, like on the chest and abdomen, on the palms there, on the feet, and the kneecaps. As you can see, a little bit of that on the back of the head, and just some highlights of that tannish, creamish color throughout there. You can see on the tail as well, which looks pretty good, and of course along the body as well. You got all the folds and wrinkles and sort of these cracks for the skin there, which is actually quite suit accurate. Looks very good. You can see all along the body some of the scaliness for him as well. You got the very short, nubby dorsal spines that is indicative of Minya's design, and that looks pretty well. You got the outer rows of them there, and then of course the larger center row. And I think they definitely captured that look very well. And then of course for the face, you got sort of that, a lot of people say that sort of Pillsbury Doughboy-ish looking face, which is, fairly accurate description. You got the white eyes, black pupils there. As you guys can see, you got some red painted on the inside of the mouth to give some extra detail, along with the tongue, and a little bit of like a bonish color for the teeth. You guys can see that. So of course he doesn't have very sharp teeth. Again, he's just a child monster, of course, son of Godzilla. So either his legit son or his some people say sort of his adopted son. So I'm not really sure which I would. I don't know. I kind of feel like it could just be his legit son, but nonetheless, though, very nicely done there. Of course, you got the again, sort of more of that sort of bonish color for the claws there, and they're fairly sharp to the touch as well. Y-MSF always does a decent job at that. Same thing for the for the toe claws there, as you guys can see. Looks really good. You got the underside of the feet. You got the Y-MSF branding there, and of course made in Japan. You guys can see all that. You got more branding from Toho on the bottom of the tail there, and of course all the scaliness on the bottom of the tail. So very look is captured very well, I should say. So again, you always got to hand it to Y-MSF because they really do a great job. So as far as the articulation goes, Y-MSF vinyl figure, it's basic articulation. He's only got a few points, so the head can rotate. But as you can see here, if you do move it too much, the joint will pop out of place. So not highly recommended. It does pop back in, but so really don't try to turn it too much, as you saw there, just a little bit, because the joint will tend to want to pop out of place. But you can get it back in. Now the arms, though, these can rotate, and these can actually spin all the way around. So decent rotation there. The tail can turn, and that you can get all the way around. I don't really know that I would recommend it, because you do see the joint kind of getting out of place a little bit here. That's one thing to always know with these Y-MSF figures, so definitely be mindful of that, and nothing in the legs at all. So just 4 points of articulation. It's very basic and overall very limited. So, but nonetheless gets the job done, and it's just, again, a really, really nice looking figure. Really, to me, very movie accurate depiction of Minya. So that covers the articulation. Now, as far as sizing goes, this guy's kind of in that, I would say, about the 4-inch range. Reason being is because he's meant to scale in with the with your 6 to 7 inch figures. Because again, he's a child kaiju, so it makes sense that he's supposed to be smaller. So in lieu of that, as far as going and doing a little bit of a size comparison goes, I brought in here his enemy bully kaiju, the notorious Gabara. And you can see here, and pull the camera all the way back, but yep, you can see quite well how Gabara and Minya scale up, and that's actually quite accurate. Now that is obviously the Y-MSF Gabara that I've got there, and again, like I said, you can see the way that they size in, and it looks really, really good together. So if you want that sort of All Monsters Attack, Godzilla's Revenge display, you can definitely get away with that here, because that looks really, really awesome. So that pretty much covers it for the size comparison. Now bring him back in a little bit, and other than that, just as far as pricing goes, the only thing to note, Y-MSF figures are always very pricey. They always have limited supply on their figures. They're limited production runs. So that being said, you do have to be aware that these are, like I said, these are pricey. If you're going to try for a re-release version, eBay is always a good place to look. The re-release versions of him I've seen for around $80 or so. If you try to get like the original release, like this one, that one, you're going to be looking at $100 or more, I would say. So it just depends on what you want and how much you're willing to spend. So, but again, if you want a really, really well depicted Minya figure that scales in well with the rest of your figures, this is really a great option to go with. I definitely recommend it. So, other than that though, folks, I think that pretty much wraps it up for this video. Nothing too extreme here. If you would like to subscribe, please feel free to do so. If you would like to like and or comment on any of my videos, please feel free to do so as well. I do want to thank you guys so much for watching. And remember, until next time, ladies and gentlemen, you be good to yourselves, and sayonara.